Hey guys, Golf Nerd here. I've been using the Orange Whip for a long time, several years, and I'm a really big fan of this product. And recently I started seeing some internet buzz about a product that I thought was pretty similar and had me intrigued, and it's the Lagshot Golf Trainer. I reached out to Lagshot and asked them if they'd provide me a sample for evaluation, and they did, and they actually gave me a link as well that'll give anybody that's looking to buy one of these a discount, and that link is in the description below. But in this video, what I want to do is I want to compare these two products because I thought they would be fairly similar, other than the fact that the Lagshot actually has a 7-iron head on it. But it turns out they're pretty different, and I wanted to go through my thoughts about why they're different and how they can help golfers, because the ways in which they can help a golfer is quite different. So we're going to start with the Orange Whip. And like I said, I've been using this product for 3-4 years anyway, and there's several things I think it does really well. The first is it can really help you get loosened up for a round. So it's a really heavy item if you haven't ever used one of these, and when you just start swinging it back and forth, it's going to really get your body warmed up just because it's so heavy. And it also allows you to really get a good stretch. Just because it's so heavy, it really lets you wind up and wind through. So if you just start swinging it back and forth, it's a great warm-up tool. In fact, if I take this out of my bag and my wife wants to use it, she gets all kinds of upset with me at the beginning of a round if the Orange Whip isn't in the bag. The second thing that I really like about this device is because this orange ball is so visible, as you swing it, it really forms the bottom of the arc. And you can easily see, are you swinging over the top? Are you swinging too far into out? Or is it fairly neutral? And I really like how, as you just swing it back and forth, you can just see that's a pretty neutral path right there. If I really drop it under, I can get a really in to out and I can see it clearly. Or if I come over the top, I can easily see that. So, and the other thing about this tool is you get a workout. So if I'm a little out of breath, I apologize, but this thing is not light. You start swinging it back and forth, and it's a pretty good little exercise, which is another positive of it. So I'm a real big fan of this. Like I said, I've seen some people ask whether you could speed train with an Orange Whip. I don't think you can. It's too heavy. So for overloading and underloading training, like a stack system or something similar, you need something that is like 10% heavier than a normal club, 10% lighter, but this is quite a bit heavier. I don't know what the weight is, but it's pretty heavy. So anyway, let's talk about the Lagshot. So obviously the first thing is it's got a club head. That's the very first difference. It's not nearly as flexible. So, if I grab that Orange Whip and just show you, this thing is super flexible, and the Lagshot isn't. It's stiffer. It's not stiff, but it's stiffer. So it's different in that respect right off the bat. With a name like the Lagshot, obviously they're hoping to help folks understand how to generate lag. And you can see that if I take a couple practice swings, if I try to create more or less, you'll be able to see that in how much the shaft deflects. So I'm just going to start with just like a real smooth swing and not try to generate a lot of lag. So there's some there, but you don't really feel it kick in your hands. But if you really try to get one and try to generate some lag and try to hold things off, you can feel it more in your hands. But for me, I think that's an interesting idea. But for me, what this device does that other devices don't do is it really teaches you how to get the club face closed. So, you know, there used to be an old phrase on the internet about how if you played too light of a shaft, the face would open up through contact and you'd slice. So people would say, hey, if you're a chronic slicer, you might need to go to a stiffer shaft. And it's interesting because that's kind of what this device does. What it does is if you don't really work on rolling the club face over and closing it through impact, you're gonna hit a lot of shots with the face wide open on this thing. And that's really where I think the beauty of this product is it forces you to work on getting the face closed at contact. So if you're a hooker and a blocker, I think this could help. And if you're a slicer, you know, it's really gonna probably frustrate you at first, but if you can get this thing to close and to roll over through contact, you're gonna be able to close the club face on a normal club as well, for sure. So I mentioned on the Hack Motion video that I just released that I've been working with the Hack Motion, and it's pointed out some issues in my swing. Basically what I've been doing wrong for some time now, I've been hitting tons of blocks and hooks, and what I would do is I'd get stuck underneath. So I'm gonna try to hit one right now, even though I'm trying to undo this. So if I just go to the top and really try to get a little underneath with it, you'll see me block it off to the right. And this club exaggerates that. So you can close that and create a bit of a hook or a draw. It's pretty hard to hook this club. But if I do that same underneath move and really try to get that face closed down, you'll see it straighten out. That cut it about in half. Let me do one more, see if I can really get it to turn over. See, that was more of a pull, really. It's just really difficult just to get it to come from the inside and get that face closed at contact. But since I've been working on my swing, I'm not trying to hit this pattern of getting really stuck underneath and flipping up and out of it anymore. I'm really trying to get my swing path to a much more neutral position. So if I try to do the swing that I'm working on, and this could be really ugly because I do not have a lot of confidence in this yet. See, right off the bat, I'm coming in through more neutral. I'm not blocking the ball off to the right. And I find this lag shot is a really nice way of working on some of these impact conditions without, one, tearing yourself up, because hitting tons of shots, you know, this thing has so much flex in it, it's easier on the body. But because it's harder to square up, it makes you work a little bit harder at it. And I think, you know, I heard Adam Young, I don't know if any of you guys follow Adam Young, but he's just a really smart instructor, and he was talking about when somebody's learning a new skill, you might make it easier on them. Like, for instance, put down a volleyball for somebody to hit with an iron as opposed to a golf ball, just because of the size of it. But as you get more skilled, you need to shrink the window in which you can do something successfully. And by doing that, it actually makes you have to work harder to be able to get the same result, because you've made it a smaller target to try to hit. And that's what this device does. Because that face is lagging so much, when it's coming down, it wants to stay open, and you have to work at a release to make sure that you're releasing it through impact. So because of that, I think this is a pretty neat tool. It's 100% different than the Orange Whip. They are not the same thing at all. Like I said, the Orange Whip is great for warm up, for working on your path, to get a stretch, to get some exercise. I'm still out of breath after doing all this. But the lag shot, for me, the genius of this product is it makes you work on face control. And I think that's a really interesting concept, especially when you get to hit balls with it. If you get a chance, I'd try to get your hands on one, just because I think it's a really interesting experience. And this is only a 7-iron, and it's just really difficult to get that turned over. You know, they make a driver. I can only imagine how hard that would be to try to turn over. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I just wanted to share that in case anybody was thinking about an orange whip or a lag shot. Very different products, very different applications. I think they both have some neat uses. But if you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments. Like always, I'll always get back to all of you guys. And that's it for the Golf Nerd. Hit them long and straight, and I'll see you next time.